welcome. So, got some stuff to talk about. To prequel it, I thought I would start here yesterday. I talked about how this is sort of like a negative and a positive, like a mass and a lack of mass. And then a separator here. Okay, so with that as a starting point, I was just looking around the earth, kind of like, wonder what I can find, like the other stuff I've been finding. And I noticed, well, like right here, like this angle where this is kind of like at the top, like a chakra. It has a landmass here, and then a like anti-mass here. That's kind of mimics the shape over here as well, down through here-ish. Looks like lungs. Like a positive, negative lung. Or positive, negative, just depending on angle of looking at it, really. But these are, it's almost like it's flipped. uh, it's almost like it's flipped. That would be crazy if like a map Australia was like kind of here and just like flipped in all of the things that occurred. I don't think it happened, but that would be crazy if it did. That's all I'm saying. That's all. People like, okay. So I have a couple pages of notes of things that I found interesting. So I have yesterday or recently I've been talking about, if I can find good, I'm trying to approach it at a good angle. Okay. This region where there's kind of like a triangle here starting from a point upward. And then I noticed over here, notice also, if I can scroll out enough, this point here and then this point here. So I noticed there's kind of, starting from Alaska, I was like, what if I start here? Because it kind of has a similar like widening thing going on. Okay, so starting from Alaska, let's see if I can turn this somehow. Not quite. Come on. Okay, almost. Okay. Okay, there we go. So the positive negative thing is in full force here, where there's like a central region here. And then what I wrote down is generally here, I believe it's called the Rangelia terrain, this region. Kind of has like a opposite here of like a more broken apart and like largely divoted, depressed regions sufficient to actually have water filling like substantial regions versus here. So there's kind of like a positive, negative here. And then Hudson Bay. Initially, I was gonna just say this region, but I was like if I say all of this region, I'm really saying Hudson Bay, like across this mirror extends to like the very boundary, and I'm kind of like, well, there's more here. So maybe like especially here is especially across this like divide line counter to Yellowstone. So like Hudson Bay and Yellowstone have close ties. And I keep running into this thing where there's like seems to be uplifting from just below that lifts the overlying crust, and it makes it look like the feature existed for a long time when really just the overlying crust existed for that period. So it like dates radiometric dating, it dates it old. Like I believe Hudson Bay is significantly older than Yellowstone, is what I'm getting at. Like those kinds of things seem to be common in across things I've noticed. Like I think the Air Valley trend in India, for instance. Okay. Here, maybe this whole region kind of mimics the whole stretch. Like maybe Yellowstone is especially here, and this stretch kind of mimics up here with the extension going here. Um, okay. I do want to be quiet. Then the Northwest Territory, like this region is like a separator here. This region is generally like a separator between the positive and negative. Um, and then I put this tip here. I associated it with like here, generally like around this region, like this region with this region. So kind of like the here to here-ish means that there's this like again with a positive negative, so with positive negative, but this one doesn't look quite as distinguishable, and like the differences, so there's differences, so it's like the positive has like an elongated one while the negative has like a widening tabs. And yeah, exactly. Just like this, the maybe the same way as how the snakes in the depressions relatively are forward like this, like that they switch in this instance. And then okay, let's keep going though. So then I said like Flemish Cap is kind of like Baja California's opposite here, energetically across this divide, this line, this arbitrary line where we can just see a mirror, like a or a shadow or something. Then I put in the same way as how Flemish Cap branches off here and Baja California branches off here. I put basically maybe like energetically in this system that the branching off of this side is Greenland, where the branching off of this side is Central America, or Mexico, really through here. As like equal opposite things. There's a I dragon. Oh. And then I put Florida as a chakra. So Alaska, Florida is like these two chakras here across North America that are like along the divide of North America. And then it has a like additional chakra of Mexico over here and another one over here from this angle. So it has a smaller shot, like triple chakra here, and a larger one down here. And then off of the Florida chakra, like in its like connection to South America, energetically bonding. So it's still seemingly double bonded, like North America to South America was initially double bonded. Here, I believe I've talked about this in ways and extensively. It's just I don't know where to point you to if you're like, what? uh, just all of my underground science videos somewhere in there. Unfortunately, maybe it's more clear in the titles, like the ones about the flame of South America. Okay, so anyway, it was double bonded there, but then it rebonded to South America through a single bond. But then Florida, I was like, you know, kind of like connected through. So then I was thinking this is kind of like a bondish thing in some like dimension thing. Maybe a hydrogen bond. Maybe because it's not really complete. Maybe. But let's zoom into this. So Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. Here, this portion have like a central point where there's kind of like they have their own chakra here and here energetically between like a narrow point that widens and then it kind of essentially like this shape, like wide, narrow, kind of like it starts at a point and then it widens and widens and then it comes back to a point and then it goes through like a empty space between the two halves and then it goes back up and widens, 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 and then narrows, creating like a wave type structure, but then it bends this way energetically, bonding. Maybe apt that there would be perhaps something representative of a hydrogen bond in the Caribbean. Okay, so then I noticed beyond that, here between the chakras, there's like a mass and then a like relatively less massive node of Jamaica and Turks, Turks and Caicos Islands. Like, what is it? Okay, and then in a similar way where there's like a bond, there's also, so from this chakra that ends especially here, like energetically, this is like almost like a finger that then has a smaller stream and then that has a smaller stream kind of thing. Like this general region where like a flow occurred across it was essentially blocked in ways here, but like allowed through here and over here a bit, so as to like shape what was supported as like adjacent blocks, because it could have just like broken off Mexico with like Papua New Guinea, but it didn't because of how the currents were flowing. Okay. And then just like South America, I put South America and yeah, this here. If we look at it from this angle, they're very similar, kind of opposite here. Like this side is straight, but this side is straight. But in the similar way where there's a positive and a negative, and the positive is just like more mass basically. So there's like South America versus here, so like this behaves as a positive to the negative, etc. So too is all of South America a positive to the negative of Antarctica. And again, they have a divide between of a separator of this like current that flowed between them basically and produced a divide. So in this way, we have South America and Antarctica. So if we go to this one here, trying to get them both on the screen. Basically, here's North America one right here, fanning out from this point here. And here's the Eurasian one, much bigger, so positive, negative, separator, where a current flowed. And even between the chakras, like it appears a current especially flowed here, like through here, and maybe contributed to this and producing these chakras as well, like that there was a current generally between the two. Okay. This one's nice. This one's so cool. I was like, whoa. Whoa. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to start here. We need to pull up a picture. It's really important. Here it is. I would like to see the full image. There we go. Thanks. By popular demand. Thanks. Okay. So. I'm going to basically be describing this as like different blocks of this hand where there's generally a current that propagates and meets resistance, where then it comes out of like a like opening, like a lava waterfall, like this, like out of an opening, just out of an opening of this, like a tiny so it goes through an opening and then like it exits the resistance. It passes the resistance so then it can just like spread in that region, which it does, and then it continues to spread, but it like goes around the system that was causing the resistance. Looks like a magnetic field almost of a system that's generally here-ish. But it goes around it, and then it begins to fill space, but then it just begins to channel like fingers that again have this, and maybe it fills in so that, like, I don't know. Okay, so we're looking at 4 of these features. Is that like an angel right there? Like, what is that? What? I know I have this picture. Hopefully I'm not too loud. James. There it is. I just know it's way high quality. Another face within it. Ah. Oh my god, this is incredible. Just like just like a crack in the lava. What? It's got like a. What? What a work of art. Okay. Wrist. So, like, maybe not, uh, exactly back here, maybe because it's bonded to a segment that I'm going to talk about later. But in essence, so this region here, where there's this like field, is essentially here, and there's like dense systems causing the field there, basically, which I would say is maybe Greenland, but maybe also more so Iceland. I'm not sure which one would be like the more. I some reason I think it's actually Iceland, but let's move on. Essentially, this region, this region. Okay, what really got me piqued my interest was when I was like, okay, what if all of Africa is like the thumb? So if we picture that this is like a wrist, and that's like the region here. Let's do it like this. So I don't have to like add a window in my stream to put them next to each other. Okay. Generally starting here, here, okay, back here, and then it like has like a thumb thing, more detectably a thumb here, more just kind of something going on here, and then like another protrusion, but then really like distinguishably coming out of Asia, Southeast Asia, a region that's kind of like where flow could just like here, especially like here is a good example because it reaches here and meets resistance, but then it gets through and it kind of fans out where it starts to meet more resistance and build and be more detectable. But it's like fanning out there, and similar to here, like the hand fans out and then it hits a knuckle. Maybe like here. And then it goes to Antarctica, which could be like the end, but I think it's like another knuckle. And then attached to it is uh, South America as like another knuckle. So basically, by starting in North America, wrapping around with a thumb of Africa through Asia, and then a knuckle of Australia, and another knuckle of Antarctica, to finish with the fingertip of South America. There's a hand of God wrapping around the earth. It's incredible. Oh my God. And I was thinking, like, it doesn't have to be like the full length. It could be like considered. It could be considered that like the finger stops at Antarctica and like a smaller hand of God, the same thing, like starting here over this way, but then also like a smaller positive negative equivalent starting from the northern South America through here, maybe with like a wrist of like the uh, why am I forgetting this rainforest name? Pardon me. Oh my God, I'm just moving on before I. How embarrassing. Rainforest, South America, Amazon. Oh my God. Whew. I guess I should look into that, huh? I'm like, why am I forgetting this name? Okay, okay. Crazy. But it kind of has like a bulk region and then like a like extended region that just reaches out. Tendency to it as well. It's not quite as like defined of the features as this because it really just isn't as like this as the rest of the earth is. And my opinion is it really makes more sense as just one hand is all part of one hand and not just like a second hand, even though it does have that element just as like a just as like a thing that occurs across scales. That's just what happens. Even like the hand of the earth is probably just like a over here within a larger hand that's way more like exactly something of this nature and etc. So that's what I have to say about Earth now from this angle. which I think is cool. It's literally, I made a video, Earth from a different angle, but I'm still looking at it from this angle. La la la, la la la. But then I start looking at it from like different angles. Like, oh, like immediately this pops out, like this aspect where again it's kind of like Australia was, with a really distinct positive negative equivalent. So I guess Australia didn't like flip up. Fine. Fine. It really doesn't make any sense that it would have, but I had to, like, entertain it. Maybe I was thinking, like, um, Mary Cabo's equivalent was, like, directly opposite of it. But maybe because this is like a positive attached to a negative, it has like a negative and a positive. Because I don't really know why the Bahamas, this region, is so like that. Okay, so, okay. The next video will be about shallograms. I was looking at here. Oh my god. All these pictures that I'm going to show in the next one are from here. Alright, peace out. See you soon.